Comfort is the enemy. Keep working, keep staying together, man. Love you guys. Woo! This is one, but the next one's just as freaking important. Yeah! Come on, let's sing that.
Hey there, we're the West Lot Pirates and welcome to the show. We're here to share our thoughts on Northwestern athletics and college sports with thoughts and analysis from the visceral to the statistical. We run our tailgate with the red pirate flag flying high above as we give no quarter, especially the fourth. I'm Sam Walter.
I am John Lacombe.
And I'm Eric Skoskousmo.
To quote current WWE champion Cody Rhodes, so guys, what do you want to talk about?
This podcast has always been and will probably, for the most part, always be a audio medium. But I'd like to show you guys that I have a can of Fest beer, brewed and canned in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
Ooh.
It's a party, y'all.
Oh,
love it.
Let's go.
I'm also drinking a Fest beer. It's a local here in Chicago, but yeah.
Oh, man.
Parts of the equation, Chicago and Pennsylvania.
Chicago and Pennsylvania, absolutely. So last week we talked about this possibility of, as we're sitting there in the stadium watching us beat the tar out of ULM, watching the Penn State UCLA game, popping up on the Jumbotron. It's like, oh, hang on a sec. This is not going to be the throwaway game that we full on expected going into this season. We full on expected to lose this game. Like, this was always a loss as we were trying to find our way to 6 wins.
You are underselling it, Sammy. Last week on our podcast, and
I was getting there, but go ahead.
We mapped out precisely, not close, not wishfully, not hopefully, precisely how this incredible moment could come to life.
Oh,
yes.
And John, I got to give you 80% of the credit.
I mean, this is so good. Obviously, you're all listening. We've been inundated with so many messages. When are you guys going to get the pod up? It's so good. This one's up there with some of the very greatest, some of our all-time faves, ones you all know, clinching the Big Ten against Iowa back in 2018. Just some of the other greats, that Wisconsin pod, and of course
Notre Dame.
Notre Dame, of course, Minnesota from 2023 being the most recent example. But for all the reasons you guys are talking about, one of the ones that springs to mind so much for me is Purdue won in basketball, because it's so rare with some of the greatest wins in Northwestern history, certainly Northwestern recent history, that everything Scuzz said, that the run-up, you spend an entire week going, we could do this. Maybe this can happen. And then
X and Y and Z.
And then it goes exactly like you wanted it to do. And yeah, everything we talked about, it's like we were like, just give these people time to climb inside their own nightmare. Let the boo birds come out. And that's exactly what happened.
Punch him first.
I mean,
slog it down, slow it down, punch him in the mouth first. And after we kick a field goal to go up 3-0, the stadium its boos are raining down. And it's the first quarter. It's like, that's exactly what we expected would happen.
Yeah.
They didn't jump off into a huge lead early.
Well, I mean, we to lay out 3 or 4 different things we said. One was win the first quarter. John, you said that spot on. Win the first quarter. The idea that they were missing their middle linebacker and UCLA ran the ball down their throats, and that we had the opportunity to do exactly that. That our scheme and our approach on offense, our personnel, the way we had been performing, were tailor made to attack that situation. And then, John, you said you summed it up perfectly when you said, let's go in there and make 100,000 people cry.
Yeah,
mission accomplished, boys.
I mean, it was.
We also said, let's go get James Franklin fired.
Yeah.
Indeed we did.
And it happened.
I mean, never to wish someone lose their. I mean, James Franklin just getting $50 million to go away, so he's doing just fine.
Dude's gonna be fine. Dude's gonna be fine.
And it's funny too, because you talked about, Scott, like that the goal was right. Like we have to come in there and punch them in the mouth and give them a chance. I mean, I think we're gonna talk about like 50 individual plays in this game, but the first one where the Boo Birds came out is Day's interception. The second Aller threw that pick, the stadium was on him. They just all had it chambered, ready. Yeah. That stadium was waiting to go south. But you talk about us punching them in the mouth. I think one of the big things from this game that will always linger in my mind is the punches that our team took in this game. This team
gave right back.
This team took.
I don't actually feel like we ever really punched them in the mouth until the very end of the game.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing is, like, we took several.
I guess we took the punches and didn't break.
We took a couple haymakers in this game that
the block punt right off the top.
The blocked punt,
answered with the interception.
Right, the block punt answered with the interception. The muffed punt into a Penn State touchdown, and we come back off of that. And then that 67-yard touchdown where it was like we had Penn State on third down, deep in their own territory. That one about took my knees out when then they scored 2 plays later, and I was head in my hands on the counter, and the team responded to that with one of the greatest drives any of us have seen.
Yeah.
It was like these guys kept getting hit, kept getting off the deck, kept showing us their very best, and as we all know, the final 2 Northwestern drives of the game, including the drive that ended the game, and the final defensive drive of the game were legendary. I mean, we're all going to remember just about every friggin' play across those 3 drives.
Wait, are you saying we took punches in the mouth and we went the distance? Are we Rocky?
Yeah, there you go. Except we won. Rocky 2.
And we call Chicago home, not Philadelphia.
Yeah, right.
I think so. I quite literally just watched every play of this game right before getting on the phone with you guys.
Your story of this game is going to be part of the lore of this game.
Well, we'll save that till later because it's not as important as some of the other things I want to highlight. But I think like this was one of the most physical games I can remember Northwestern playing in a long time. And I want to call him out from the get-go. He was my pick for like the guy on defense I wanted to see make the leap this year. Mac Uline was a tackling machine in this game. When you watch, I mean, you watch him take down single-handed in the open field Katrin Allen, running with a full head of steam. The things he had an absolutely incredible performance today, and There's 4 plays I want to call out later that I think are the 4 most important plays of the game. Only one of them is defensive, and it doesn't have Mac Uline in it. But if I had a 5th play, it would probably be one of his incredible tackles.
Yeah, so good. And I just think too, it's so easy to go down this entire roster and be like, not only did that guy have a big play, I can tell you exactly what that big play was. And Uline it's like Uline and Carmine combined on that massive 3rd down stop on the final drive. And then Story and Hubbard combined on that stop on 4th down. And it's like those guys were there. Aday had that huge play. Braden Turner on that final series blew up their 1st down play. And they were in 2nd and 13 on 1st down. It's like every guy, I know we're going to clear out, we're going to dump buckets of ink for Preston Stone, the line.
Can I hit one more physicality?
Yeah.
There was at one point I'm watching us try to run the ball against Penn State, and their defense, honestly, to a fault, was so aggressive. And, they had that offsides at the beginning, and the announcers are talking about how twitchy they were last week. And, we talked about how they brought so many guys after Nico, and he was able to evade the pressure and get away, et cetera. And Preston Stone's not that type of guy. So we were not going to be able to have that kind of approach. But as I'm watching us run, and the speed and the power with which these Penn State guys are attacking the line of scrimmage is, I mean, when they hit man for man against one of our tight ends on the back end on many of these plays, like they're throwing our guys backwards, but it doesn't matter because of the willpower that Northwestern brought to this game and the ability and the willingness to push right back with the same intensity. And this game was like that all game. There's so few drives. It kind of reminds me of Tulane in some ways, the way this played out. Now as I look at the drive chart, that does not actually feel truth. What did we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 drives instead of the 6 that we had against Tulane.
When was that Tulane game? 2022? 2021?
Like 5
it
years
feels
ago.
forever ago. It really does.
I just, like the image of a Penn State, the image of DDS and who is Fisher? Is that their other defensive end? Those guys just coming around the end like howitzers. Their linebackers smashing into our tight ends, and us behind duo and Komolafe cutting just incredibly all game long. Hyman going up the middle all game long. Like we took it to this offense. This was not we absolutely took it to this offense in a physical, like, titanic match in their house.
This team, Penn State starts Denai Dennis Sutton, Zariah Fisher, and Zane Durant on the defensive line. There's not some other level above that in the Big Ten. Like, those are all NFL guys. And I just, it's to the point now, and we talked about him for weeks, but Komolafe and this offensive line are just, you look at his stats, 19 for 72, 3.8 a carry. It's the most beautiful 19 for 72 you ever seen. And this game really hammered it home, but you're all familiar with it. You all are going to know exactly what I'm talking about. There are so many runs where it's like, oh, hey, great job, Preston Stone. Nice 7-yard completion on first down. Now we got to pick up another 3. And there are so many years where we're like, well, shit. Because now we got to get the 3. And we're going to go like jumbo, and they're going to go jumbo, and we're going to get 1, and then we're going to get 1 again, and then we're going to punt. And it's just like Komolafe is like that 3.8. You're on 2nd and 2. He's moving the chains. Like he's like a battering ram. He cuts awesome. This line is great, and this line is like, oh, we're going to get you 3. We'll get you 3 or 4, and then we're going to move the chains, and then we're going to start up again. And, I mean, we talked about it last week, but Northwestern dominated time of possession in this game. Like, we dominated time of possession. You look at so many of these stats, and you're just like, Northwestern, for weeks, hasn't turned the ball over, has pounded the run game, has dominated time of possession, and credit to Lujan. We talked about it on Twitter after the game, but this is a guy a couple weeks ago where we were like, all the pieces are there for him. And against UCLA, he couldn't get out of his own way. There was so much other stuff. And then being like, man, like he has pushed himself into such a precarious position. And it seems like it should be a fix, but man, can he just do it? He has been lights out since then. Every lesson that needed to be learned, he's like, it's like it took that game for him to be like, okay, I get exactly what my team's identity is now. I know exactly how I'm going to lean into it. And this is how we're going to do it. And they just like, they hammer. And look, I know you can look and you can be like Wildy, who was phenomenal in this game.
Yeah.
I mean, he had the one drop and then shook it off and was a monster the whole rest of that drive. But you can look and you can be like, look, like Wildy, like Stone was zeroing in on Wildy. Yeah, because Stone and Wildy were unconscious in this game, particularly down the stretch. And it's like,
and what's wild is like you look at Stone's, his stat line, 17 of 26 for 163 and a touchdown. Like, if that's all you see, it's like, okay,
and that's right.
But
this is where I got to talk about my most important plays of the game.
Let's go.
Non-scoring, non-turnover, non-game ending. Let's start with that.
Yeah.
I'm excluding those plays, but this is like the game behind the game. In the first half, Preston Stone threw 3 balls, and I think 2 of them were screens. Maybe all 3 of them were screens, but to Joseph Hyman.
Mm-hmm.
against the grain of this over pursuing aggressive Penn State defense. This is A, perfect game planning. B, really excellent execution by the guys making it happen.
Mm-hmm.
And C, our number one key that we've been talking about for like 4 weeks of get Joseph Hyman the effing ball. And they did it in the first, and they did it in the first half. And that is what opened up Griffin Wilde in the second half.
Yeah.
And the ability to do the things that we did in the second half because Joseph Hyman set the stage.
None of it was out of motion either. All of it was out of the backfield, out of our regular formations. The only exception was Wagner coming in motioning as a misdirection. And we ran the play the opposite way. It was all it's everything we've been screaming for. Just for the love of God, just don't.
I didn't know that was something you were allowed to do.
Yeah, exactly.
Motion and go the opposite direction. Confuse them.
Also, in this game against Penn State in Happy Valley, Northwestern had 2 75-yard touchdown drives.
That's amazing.
And on one of them, on the penultimate play, one of those Hyman screens, guys specifically want to call out because catching the ball hasn't had the season that he was looking for. Pretty much, I think everyone knows, our best blocking wide receiver is Frank Covey. And Frank Covey, on the second to last play of the first 75-yard touchdown drive, I'll put it up later this week. He blocks as well as you'll ever see a wide receiver block. We were here for the Rashad Lawrence era, where Rashad Lawrence was maybe the greatest blocking Northwestern wide receiver we've seen. Covey's block on this play was as good as I've seen any wide receiver block any play. Those plays, you're throwing a swing out to Joe Hyman. Like, whether the corner gets there or not has a big determination on how well the play is going to do. Covey blows the corner 5 yards off the line of scrimmage and then locks him up until Hyman is past him. It's awesome. Like, it's so good. And it's like every guy had moments like that. Even guys who had no stats. Lawson Albright had an awesome game blocking in this game. And again,
our use of tight ends in the run blocking game, again, against this over pursuing Penn State defense, it was a perfect marriage of game plan and execution.
Yeah. And just like all the guys having good games. Obviously Wagner had the muffed punt. That was a bummer. The biggest, it's a muffed punt asterisk, right? We were all talking about this goofy play.
You can't throw that penalty, but you can't throw a flag there, but it's
right.
What's he supposed to do? Right. He's getting his guy blocked into him.
Right. It's fire.
You can't throw the penalty, but you can't just sit here and say, "Oh yeah, Wagner muffed the punt."
Our bottom line is look, Wagner's our guy back there, and the main thing we need for him to do is to flush it. That's you just need that to be flushed out of your system because it's we're gonna need you a ton. But even he caught a couple balls after that, and it's just Elegon had a couple. All the guys had their little moments, and then of course Stone. You talked about the stats, Sam. No one's ever going to remember the stats. It's This guy was we took, again, I was felt like I was going to throw up when Penn State had the 67-yard play. Keep in mind, aside from that 67-yard completion, Penn State had 70 pass yards all day long. The pass defense had locked them up. The triumphant return of Fussell, who had a massive pass breakup in this game.
Yeah.
That was exceptional.
So good. And on that video, you watch him and you're like, well, that's one of the Big Ten's best corners. His movement on that.
Welcome back. Welcome back. We're gonna need you.
But then that play, and then they score one play later, and it was just a backbreaker. Except no, Preston Stone was like, get on my back. We're going down there. He was dialed in. And his number one target dropped a pass on the opening, and Stone was like, I don't care. We were on a 3rd and 8 deep in our own territory on that drive, and Stone fired a laser right to Wilde, and then just bang, 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 moved down the field. The run game started clicking and everything. I mean, we all, this is that other piece too. All of you Northwestern fans watching, it's like, what was your viewing experience for this game? And you will always remember your viewing experience.
Yeah.
I was just pacing back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Just the whole game, I couldn't stop moving, just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And I knew a second after he got the ball that Komalafe was in on that play. I just could see. You could see the trash, and you could see, oh, they don't have him, he's in. And I didn't watch him from the 5 yards in. I was like screaming and running into my kitchen. If there would have been a holding call, I would have been in trouble. Although, again, this team played clean football yet again today.
They did.
But just to have a drive like that and to have, just Stone so good. And you know what this game is for him and for his whole career and everything that's wrapped up in it.
I mean, he was in that building, but 10 months ago.
Right.
I want to ask about the two, maybe it was three, but like on that drive. I mean, he was hitting Wilde on inside slant routes that were reminiscent of Sam Simmons.
Yeah.
And reminiscent of a Northwestern offense that we haven't seen in God knows how long. And I'm not a smart enough X's and O's guy to understand why we haven't seen that very often. I have to think that Wilde going for a post and then coming back to the corner to catch a 30-yard touchdown pass and absolutely dusting Penn State's best cover corner in the process had something to do with how they were covering him later in the game. But it rang to me as, again, and I know I've cited this a couple of times on the pod earlier this season already, but it rang to me as the way, Dan Persa would talk about him and Ebert getting together in the huddle and be like, okay, we're like, they're trying to do this to us. I know the game plan says X, but we can get this slant every single time that we want it and just spamming it. And whether that call's coming in over the headset or it was part of the game plan or they figured it on the field, like whatever, but it just like, it rang to me as one of those things where they were like, hey, Wilde being like, I've got this guy. If you throw the ball a yard and a half in front of me, I will catch it every time.
Yeah.
And that's what they went out and did. And that players making plays. And, I think you can understand, I think we can all understand why that would have been really effing hard to do week 1 of the year against Tulane. Another excellent, aggressive, attacking defense. And why that Northwestern team, I know it feels like 5 years ago, but it was really just 6 weeks ago, was on their heels from the word go in that game. And we're not able to withstand the punches and the hits and play with a resilience and an edge like they did last night.
Right. I mean, it's funny because you look and you're like, right, like in the first game he was going after Wilde, in this game he's going after. I mean, it's like light years different. We're on the field and Penn State's like, dang, they have a quarterback who's dialed in, a receiver who's dialed in, 5 offensive linemen that have been smacking us all night. They might hand it off to Joe Hyman, or they might throw it into the flat for another 10 yards for Joe Hyman. We don't know. He can throw to his other receivers. We've seen him do it this game. And Stone, who like week 1, just that mess. And just to remember, like, he had a horrible game in that game and had a horrible first half against Oregon. And then the whole rest of the nation was like, well, that's it for Preston Stone. Sorry, this transfer was like a disaster. He dug himself out of this. And now and like this guy who had those issues and saw that in the national landscape, down a touchdown or like less than a touchdown in the fourth quarter in Happy Valley in front of 107,000 fans, was like, we're doing this. We're going to go down there.
107,000 fans who were not as loud as they were.
Right, yeah, right. And then broke their hearts, right? And
yeah.
I mean, any number of things. I mean, I go back to Harris Horowitz's story for Inside NU about Stone and this crazy journey that has led him to Northwestern, and just like his whole, him being a name his entire life, and then being loyal to SMU and it not going the way that he did, that it did, etc. And we talked about that, like, his best season, like AAC football, his best win heretofore had been a big road victory against Memphis. I mean, the AAC, but we're talking Memphis versus in Happy Valley against Penn State in the fourth quarter, down, leading your team down the field. And
like, let's also phrase this against a team that 3 weeks ago was the number 2 team in the country.
Right. And I mean, it's amazing. I mean, their fall from grace and Franklin's fall from grace has been incredible. But again, to come back to the way the line blocked, but then to get the ball back, and you've all been in that situation too, where I even looked at my wife. We were watching the game and we were looking at the timeout situation and everything, and I was basically like, look, Penn State's probably going to get the ball back here. They're going to burn all their timeouts, and we are likely going to punt or pin them back or kick a field goal or something, and then they're going to get the ball down. Like, I was basically like, where we were, I was like, they're going to burn all their timeouts. The Milkman's going to give us a fourth field goal. Milkman, 3 for 3, big time. He's going to give us a fourth field goal. We'll be up 4, and then they're going to get the ball back. And Northwestern was like, nope, stepping on their throat. Como breaking to the outside on that play, and then the Hyman play.
Yes. Let's talk about that Joe Hyman play to finish the game.
I want to preface it. I know I brought up his catches early. He had 4 catches for 38 yards. He had 13 rushing attempts for 65 yards. We've been hammering this for weeks. They got him involved in a very smart way. Mm-hmm. They did not it was not just like, oh, Como's carried it for like 3 or 4 carries. Let's give a couple to Joseph. No, they approached this in a very intelligent way to purposely use Joseph Hyman in this offense without telegraphing it and being cute about it.
Yep. And
it worked to great effect, because guess what? He's a baller. He's so fast.
He almost broke one in this game too.
Man.
Earlier. Yeah.
I couldn't help thinking on that 167-yarder that Ross broke for Penn State. That's the kind of thing I want to see Hyman doing. Running a shallow crosser and having an opportunity to cut it upfield and just dust a guy. Anyways, carry on.
So we talked about, I mean, it's funny. Here's an interesting preamble to this. Greg Newsome, as you all probably know, was traded to the Jaguars from the Browns this week. And when they asked him, in his post-trade press conference, they're like, "Boy, you got a short time to learn the new playbook." And he was like, "I'm a Northwestern man. I pride myself on my brains. I'll be all right." And we were all like, "Yeah." And then to watch Joe Hyman a day later make the smartest of smart plays. There is a big addendum to that awesome play, in addition to how smart it is, if you've watched enough Penn State football in the James Franklin era. And that is that James Franklin has 2 wins on his docket that should have been losses, where all that had to happen was the opposing running back had to fall down at the end of the game. And I went back to look them up so we could get the years up. Iowa and Penn State, I think in 2017, it was a tight game, and with a minute left, Penn State was out of timeouts. Iowa was down 2, and Akram Wadley broke 3 from 30 yards out. And the second he broke 3, I was just yelling, "Just go down. All you have to do is go down at the 5, kick the field goal, and you walk away." And instead he went into the end zone, and Penn State was down 5 with 50 seconds left and went down and scored. And then 2-3 years later, they beat App State in a game they should have lost. People remember this when people are like, "Well, Franklin
that's the one I remember."
Yeah,
yep.
Franklin wins everything except for the big ones. Well, he should have lost to App State to open the season. All they had to do, same situation. End of the game, Penn State's out of timeouts. It's tied. App State's running back breaks free from 20 yards out. If he just falls down at the 5, they kick an effective extra point, with no time left and win the game. And instead he went in and Penn State went back and tied out. So Joe Hyman wasn't having any of that. Made a super smart play and ended the game right there. Just incredible. And just the wherewithal, like he was on that from like the second he broke free. And it's not like any of us knew he was going to break free. But just one more play. I mean, this team was so good and so clutch. Just like the guys were never phased. And even when, like, again, like as I was a fan, I was like, oh my gosh, is it going to go like this? And it's like, nope. They just bounced right back, and every guy had a piece of it. And just the amount of pride you feel after a game like this is absolutely incredible.
This one elicited some tears. This was a big deal.
Yeah. And of course, all the other pieces too for Braun. I mean, I think we're all very familiar with his situation and how much we all like Braun, how much we want this to work out. And to have a massive win like this and a massive feather in his cap, just absolutely incredible.
It's wild, thinking about the parallels between this year so far and his first year, 23. Kind of scuffling early, obviously, everything that happened with Pat Fitzgerald in the offseason, and then going in and just scuffling, but then winning that game against Minnesota, which was pretty much like the same time as that win against UCLA. Scuffled, came out with a dub, and then the next couple games, there's like, whoa, it cranked up.
Yeah,
and like the parallels it's there. It's really, really cool.
You think of the
yes, but
sure,
there ain't no win on that ledger on the order with this one.
I mean, the Minnesota game was so magical that season. We all know like the way that it happened, and
it was magical, but it was a home game, and Minnesota was not a team laden with top 10 talent.
Right,
sure.
Sure.
This is the biggest win Northwestern has had.
Yeah.
In a long time. I actually now that I say that out loud, I haven't gone back and done the math on it. I did look
a national landscape win.
I was looking at Winsipedia for the Big 3 and the Big 10 to kind of confirm what I remembered, which was that Randy Walker is the only coach in modern Northwestern history to have beaten all three of them.
Yeah.
Fitz never beat Ohio State. Beat Michigan once in 2008, and then beat Penn State twice at the beginning of Franklin's tenure. And actually, I think there's a funny stat about
for any of
Franklin's first loss and last loss being Northwestern.
Yeah, for any of you, I was gonna say for any of you younger fans who maybe don't know, the Rose Bowl year we didn't play Ohio State, and notably we needed Ohio State.
Same thing in the Citrus Bowl year.
Right. And in the Rose Bowl, we needed Ohio State to lose to Michigan the last week of the season to punch our Rose Bowl ticket, and that's exactly what happened. But yeah,
Biaka Batuka? Was that
something like
Michigan's
that. Chimanga Biaka Batuka going off.
But
I will say, like, the Minnesota game in terms of it's not just the result, it's not just how fantastic the game was. We all came out of that game being like, this team has no quit, right? It's like Ben Bryant, AJ Henning, Bryce Kurtz, and this pass pro. We were like, that's, give just all they need is an inch. Like, they'll never give up. They will fight forever. And then the team came out of it with that identity. This is like this team knows exactly what it is now. Yep. They know exactly what it is and who they are. And that was the one thing we were like, for the love of God, can we just get to Nebraska feeling like we have an identity? And now it's like, it's an identity. And I know we'll pivot to the next big piece of this in a second, but I think
before we got to talk defense a little bit.
Oh yeah.
Unless there's another point you had.
No. Go ahead.
So I alluded to my 4 favorite plays of the game. My other favorite play of the game came on second down, right before the Aller injury. It was Penn State's last drive. Aller hits a check. It's second and 8, second and 7. Aller hits a check down, and this check down is in the very middle of the field, and he looks wide open as hell.
Yeah.
Like Like the first down is a given. And Robert Fitzgerald comes like a bat out of hell and hits this dude, stopping his momentum 100%, wraps him and takes him down immediately. There's no fall forward. There's no nothing. There is no nothing. Wow. What a tackle. And Robert Fitzgerald wasn't the leading tackler tonight or last night, as he has been in some other recent games for Northwestern, but he like his presence was so obvious. And just between him and Uline, and I'll layer Bruss into this, I'll layer Bastone into this, the whole D-line really, but like we battled Penn State for every inch. I mean, there's a reason that Nick Singleton had 20 yards on 7 carries. There's a reason that, Katron Allen went 16 for 90, which is pretty decent, but kind of doesn't hold a candle to the sort of stuff that he usually does. And it's because our defense fought them tooth and nail for every inch. And those guys that I mentioned in particular really stand out. But across the board, I thought the defense played just heroically.
How about
Aiden Hubbard? Coming up like on fourth down when they, for whatever, like I was baffled by the fact that they went for it on fourth down so deep in their own territory after having their star quarterback go out with an injury. They have all 3 timeouts, punt, get a stop, try to get it back. But for that fourth down play,
that
Hubbard just comes in and just shuts it down.
That play, so McGarrigle.
It's a Hank special.
McGarrigle, unbelievable in this game.
Yes. I wanted to talk about the specific play in relation to McGarrigle. Go ahead.
That play, because first of all, Hubbard lines up at DT on that play.
Yep.
And you can see McGarrigle's like, you watch what's going to happen. I'm going to have you drop into the lane. And here's what he's going to do. That's where he's going to look. And the second you drop, he's going to run. And then you're going to close on him. It goes down. You're like, that's what they're going to do. They're going to run. They're going to tell him, shallow slant, and if it's not there, take off. And Hubbard just closes it, and then Story was all over that play too.
They completely baited him into it. It was perfect, especially it was a perfect read of the situation and the player. And then again, the execution, it all came together perfectly. But that play was beautiful. There was another one where we put 6 guys on the line of scrimmage and brought heat, like real heat from Bruss and Fitzgerald. The latter, or maybe not Fitzgerald, maybe it was Campbell. The latter being Campbell being on like a little curl, or a little stunt, if you will, and forced an overthrow. Bastone forced an overthrow. There were, we didn't have any recorded sacks, but we very effectively put pressure on Aller without hanging our defense out to dry on the back end. I mean, this was very much a shut down the run, and put pressure on Aller, but in a very responsible way. The opposite of how Penn State attacked UCLA, for example. And again, it like McGarrigle has really like found his lane these last 3 or 4 weeks. Like, my God, I mean, he is in his bag in just a very, very confident way.
And yet another, you see Bruss showing out and Uline and just being like, add them to the list of this guy's like a linebacker whisperer. The amount of talent that he's produced at this position and like the pride of that unit. But we should mention, like, for all the talk about Penn State missing Tony Rojas, we didn't have Anto Saka for this game.
I was wondering where, like, as the game was ending, I was like, gosh, I didn't hear Saka's name called at all.
So we don't know exactly what the injury situation is. And we're recording this before Braun's Monday press conference because you all wanted it up so bad, and we want to get it up so bad. But Anto wasn't in the injury report. So they thought he was going to be able to go, or at the very least they were trying. And then in the pregame run through, it was a no-go. So that's the situation. So but we didn't have him. It's notable. You mentioned Callan Campbell, who didn't record stats in this game, but played a bunch of snaps. Jason Reynolds played a bunch of snaps in this game. If you all can tell me what number Jason Reynolds is, gold star. But it's number 40, and he played a bunch of reps in this game. And that's Giannis Karlaftis going out. We mentioned that last week when we lost Giannis for the season, that low key, he has looked really good. It's just the sets that we play don't get him on the field a tremendous amount. But he would have played a bunch in this game, particularly when they were starting to hit us on the ground, particularly when Katron Allen was getting and going. Those reps went to Jason Reynolds. You had guys playing the biggest football of their lives out there. We talked about Callan Campbell, and this is, I think, of a real obvious comparison to this. But Callan Campbell is a guy from the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, from a tiny little town in the middle of nowhere. I think he played 3 or 4 positions for his high school football team, and basically his best offers were service academies and Ivy League schools. And Northwestern offered him and was like, we believe in this guy, and brought him in. And here he is out on the field in Happy Valley, making, getting big time reps. And then there's video of him celebrating on the field after on the field in Happy Valley after a big win. And you're like, this is Northwestern football. It reminded me 4 years ago of another freshman who was lightly recruited, who came in on the defensive line and suddenly found himself playing really big reps in Ireland against Nebraska. And that's Carmine Bastone. There is this tradition of Northwestern finding guys like this and coaching them up and watching them turn into special football players who are part of these huge moments. And of course, Carmine had a major. He combined on the stop on the big play, last play of Drew Aller's career, most likely, but a huge game-stopping play. And again, was fighting all day. I mean, this is, again, it's Penn State. Scuzz talked before, like, this team is so deep on the offensive line. They're loaded with 4-star recruits. It's all big-time talents. They've got guys like Dennis Sutton, who was like the number 2 recruit in the nation. It's all that, and it's the laundry, and it's going on the road, and it's the fans, and it's everything wrapped up in front of it that would eat a lot of teams up. And this team was not having it and got it all done. I mean, they believed 110%. And we mentioned it in nature of the pivot I know we're going to mention. In the open, right off the top, we had David Braun's awesome post-game speech for this game, which gets you jacked up. It is inspiring, but maybe the most inspiring thing of it all is that really almost from like within 20 minutes after this game ended, he was basically like, it all is on this Purdue game now. He's basically like, it's this game, holding serve here and going home and capitalizing on this with another big win and keeping the momentum going is absolutely everything for this football team. And he's 100% right.
I think there are a lot of coaches who in that moment would not have the foresight to say what David Braun said, which was, and I'll note, he said this within 20 minutes of the biggest win of his coaching career.
Right.
1,000%. Yeah.
Head coaching career, I guess I should say. But it's not even close how big this was compared to every other win that he has on his ledger. And he said to his team, where was beating Penn State on our list of goals for this season? It wasn't there.
Right.
This win does not define our season. And I think there are so many coaches who would look at this, and I don't say this judgmentally. This is human nature. They would look at this win as from not, again, this is going to sound bad when I say it, but from the perspective of the career ladder, wow, this is the biggest win I've ever had. This is the biggest jewel in my crown. This becomes my defining win as they think about where their career goes from that day forward, whether it's in their current role or not. And I think it would be easy for David Braun to look at this and go meet with the recruits and start talking about, look at how Northwestern can operate on this stage. Look at what we can do, and overemphasize this win at the expense of this season. And he did not do that. In the moments after this game, when the adrenaline was pumping hardest with his team in the bowels of that stadium, he said, this does not define us.
Right.
But we know who we are, and we can play with anyone, anywhere, anytime. Let's fucking go.
Right. And now we have to, right.
I almost brained myself running into a wall.
Yeah.
After hearing that. I mean, my God.
And he pivoted it to Purdue immediately. And I think this team knows the score, and we all know the score too. And this is why we said right after the game, and we'll hit this point again, but it's like, get your ass into that stadium next week. It needs to be packed and loud. And it's like, it's already the last game we may ever play there. But I mean, it's like all the incentive. I think get
your ass to Martin Stadium.
Yeah, get your ass in the seats. But
stay there.
Right, and that's the thing, right, and stay. But it's been known to everyone in this fan base since the summer, really since the schedule came out, that our narrow path to a bowl game depended desperately on us making as much hay as possible in the beginning of the season, really in the first 7 games of the season. And if you would have asked anyone, literally anyone, in the fan base or nationally, what's the best possible position Northwestern could be in 7 games through the season, 5-2 is the biggest thing that you would have heard from anybody. 5-2 was the dream scenario. Now, we're currently at 4-2. If I would have come to everybody and I was like, here's how we're going to get to 4-2. We're going to beat Western, we're going to beat UCLA, we're going to beat ULM. For win 4, I'll give you a choice. Either you can beat Tulane to start the season, or you can win on the road in Happy Valley in Game 6. What would everyone have chosen? It's not only that it's obviously the significance of a Penn State win, but it's where in the season it is. Like, this team's humming right now. But to get to that 5-2 dream scenario, because the last 5 games remain the last 5 games, it is no peach. It's a rough road. But getting to that 5-2 start depends on this Purdue game, and we're really fortunate. We're really fortunate to get them at home. We are really fortunate that our team is playing the way they are right now. But this Purdue team is for sure better in most ways than the Purdue team we played last year. And they're a legitimately dangerous football team. They're 2-4, but they are a dangerous 2-4. And they're a team. I mean, again, that's why it's so good. Braun was so locked in on this, but the potential in a classic situation for a letdown game here is large, because you just had this massive road win, and now you have a team coming in who is 2-4. They are not on the national landscape, but they are very dangerous. This is I can't stress enough how huge of a football game this is for this team, and what it demands from the fan base.
So before we do pivot to Purdue, is there anything else we need to talk about this Penn State game? I mean, we could talk about it we could talk about this all night long.
We talked about Jack Olson and how badass he was.
The milkman.
Yeah.
Our only real negative play of the game was, where Stone got driven, where they got around the outside for that sack on Stone and backed us way up in a big situation.
And he was so mad because he lost his footing.
Mm-hmm.
I think he likely saw something downfield and was, if nothing else, was going to throw that ball away. But he was so angry.
Yeah.
When that happened.
And then, you're suddenly like, oh man, now this is like a long field goal. Like, we were expecting a field goal, and now it's a field goal, and he just drilled it. The milkman was unconscious, just bang, bang, bang. 3 opportunities, made it look like clockwork every time. Yeah. It's exactly what you want. It's the kicker that we have grown to know and love. Just a guy who's clutch moments. Again, he's going out in Happy Valley with three big time field goals and hitting all of them. Just awesome. The other thing I'll mention relative to this game, we know a lot of people who are at this game. It's so awesome. Congrats to all of you. It must have been so incredible. Number one at the head of that list is Jay Sharman, our man from Lake the Posts, who unfortunately for him has not been able to be at any home games so far this season, and just so happy that he was able to be at this game. If you've attended any sporting events with Jay, and we're fortunate, I think of Sammy, you and I, Purdue won, the aforementioned Purdue won. Jay was about 7 or 8 seats to our right, with someone who was a Purdue fan who would come, and I'd be like, oh man, I feel bad for you that you're roped to Jay on this night, but sorry, not sorry. Jay was, on the court immediately, and it's just awesome. Like that's the kind of game that fan, that Northwestern fan, deserves to be at. So just fantastic.
I mean, it sucks that Drew Aller is out for the year.
Yeah, maybe we should talk about that a little bit. Like it's unfortunate. I mean, like there was, it was just kind of your classic. He got tackled in a very normal way, and whether it's a high ankle sprain or a broken leg. I mean, if he's already out for the year, it's probably the latter. He walked off the field under his own power for the most part.
You saw him, like, he then got on the cart, his shoe was off, his ankle had swollen like twice, like in 5 minutes from it. It looked bad.
And just for it to be the postscript of the kind of career, the Drew Aller experience is just, it's horrible for that guy. I mean, it's like, it's not like any of this is his fault. It's not his fault that the 5-star ratings were thrown on his back and that the world was expected of him and that people were talking about him as a number 1 draft pick. I mean, it is what it is. And again, it's like Penn State in general. I mean, none of us are Penn State fans, but it's not like Penn State is Michigan or Iowa or Wisconsin. Like, we don't have that kind of history with this football team. And they are imploding.
They're in trouble.
They are imploding as bad as you can implode. There's a solid chance they won't bowl. They have to play on the road at Iowa this week. They still have to play maybe the number 1 and number 2 teams in the nation in Ohio State and Indiana. And you can look at the rest of their schedule.
That's their next 3 games.
Yeah,
that's their next 3 games.
Wow.
This could very well spiral.
At Michigan State, hosting Nebraska, at Rutgers to finish out the year. So, I mean, they could get I could see them getting 2 more wins pretty easily just on the backs of their defense and their running game. But beating Ohio State, Iowa, Indiana, or Nebraska for that 6th win is going to be hard.
Right. I mean,
that is a rough pill to swallow for a team that was tabbed for a national championship.
Right.
And now they they fire Franklin today.
Mm-hmm.
Their quarterback is out for the year.
Yep.
Their middle linebacker is out. I mean, the injuries are starting to pile up. Now all the talk is, you lost a coach and
right. And
you lost your coach, you lost your quarterback. How do you galvanize?
And with all due respect to Penn State, like, this ain't a UCLA situation where, like, UCLA has had the weight of no expectations whatsoever. They had a really talented quarterback they could climb, whose back they could climb on, and then they caught wind with the new OC and everything. But it's not
UCL is a school that has, like, quite explicitly and intentionally underfunded football for decades.
Right.
Like, they're a basketball school and they're unapologetic about that. Penn State could not be more polar opposite from that. Football is the engine that drives everything about Penn State.
And if you ask any football fan, any Penn State football fan, there are 6 games left in their season. This season's an afterthought. It's not even a conversation piece. All Penn State fans are talking about now is who they're going to get to replace James Franklin. That's the conversation piece. It's like, could we possibly get Cignetti? Is it going to be Matt Rule? Like, is it going to be Lane Kiffin? That everyone, they've already checked out. So, I mean, it's like for their season to go this way. So, yeah, I mean, it's a bummer for Aller. Like, we have no will for that guy. It's horrible to see that kind of thing happen. But yeah, I mean, but again, it's like this again, this win will live on, and the question, there is so much meat on the bone left for this team this season, and the question now will become, will that game be one of several greats in this season, and that's where we're heading.
If you or a loved one is seriously injured by someone else's negligence, hire Kent Simpson of the Simpson Law Group. After over a decade prosecuting murder cases in Chicago, Simpson opened his own firm focused on wrongful death and personal injury cases. He specializes in car, truck, motorcycle, boat, and other transportation accidents, as well as construction accidents, medical negligence, slip and falls, product liability, and more. Millions recovered for clients, no fee unless he wins. The Simpson Law Group, compassion, empathy, and vigorous advocacy. Go to simpsonlawgroup.com or call 312-332-2107 for a free consultation, and go Cats. On to Purdue.
Yeah. They are... This is...
Yeah. So, like, you think back, I mean, 1995, Northwestern goes to Notre Dame, 28-point underdogs, wins. Next game, they lose to Miami, Ohio. This Purdue game is critical. Like, you cannot... Like, the opportunity for a letdown here is huge.
Trap.
It's beyond that. It's like, you cannot let down. Mm-hmm. And like what you guys were saying earlier with when Braun is coming out and saying, this does not define us. That right there is the first step in, like, okay, enjoy this. When we get back to Evanston, flush it.
Right.
But not like the Pat Fitzgerald flush it, like, but it's, you got to let it go.
Right.
And I trust that this program will do that. You know, maybe that's irrational, but like, whether or not we win or lose, I don't think there will be a hangover from this game.
In 2023, so because I think that's the best comp that we have, right? To try to understand, you know, how the staff's going to manage their mentality, et cetera. In 2023, coming off of the big Minnesota win, we lost to Penn State. Ironically, a game in which Penn State ran up the score. Please see our Twitter for more information on that.
At Westlaw Pirates, check it out.
Then
like and subscribe.
We really struggled to beat. Well, that's not true. Like, we had the Howard game pretty much in hand and made some, you know, maybe some naive choices at the end that allowed them to get back in the game and give us all a bit of a heart attack. Lost on the road against a decent Nebraska team. Came back home and thumped Maryland. And by thumped, I mean put up like great offensive numbers. Lost a heartbreaker to Iowa on the road. And then won 4 straight. So nowhere in there was the coming off of a big win, we just let down and crapped the bed. Because even in that Penn State game, like that game was tied at half, right? 10-10 if I remember.
Yeah.
So at no point in that stretch, and granted, that was a very different year for a lot of different reasons, but we do have to just have faith that this team is going to show up against Purdue and bring their big boy pants. And the game's at 2 p.m. Central, I think, which helps. It's not a sleepy 11 a.m. kickoff. There's an opportunity for our fan base to get rocking and rolling, to pack the house, etc.
It's the they're doing the 30th anniversary of the Rose Bowl year with the Rose Bowl adjacent, inspired by potential, like the black uniforms that are
right.
You know,
crap.
Again, to give a chance to run a third Purdue 1 reference, you wear black when you play Purdue and it neutralizes whatever they bring, and then it just looks like more Northwestern fans in the stands if you get a big win. So that factors in. I mean, everyone's going to be wearing black. So the thing about this Purdue team, because all of you, you know, I'm sure most of you have not followed Purdue closely this season. You're wondering what the situation is. You know, they went through a coaching change, and they're quite dangerous, and they're quite dangerous in a really specific way, which is offensively, they have talented players at every position, and they play stupid football all the time. And this is a team that turns the ball over a lot and commits a lot of penalties. When they're not turning the ball over and committing penalties, they're really dangerous. Devin Maccabee's a problem at running back. Nitro Tuggle is a problem at wide receiver. Ryan Brown has thrown for 300 yards or more a bunch of times this season. This guy has no problem throwing it 50 times and moving the ball down the field. They are a problem. And you look at the way they played, and also coming off arguably their best game of the season. And you look at the way that it's their best game of the season and the way they still lost to Minnesota, they dominated this game statistically. We're about to play a team that just played Minnesota, a team that recently has had a quite good run defense. They ran 40 times for 253 yards at 6.3 a carry. A ton of that was two quarterbacks, both Ryan Brown and Malachi Singleton. They'll put a quarterback in, they'll run RPO, they'll run read option, they will try to hit you in a couple of different ways, and Tuggle is a real problem. He is a dynamic, game-breaking caliber of a receiver. He was at, I think, Georgia and transferred in.
Yep.
Right. He's a big-time athlete and a really good receiver. They dominated this game, and then kind of shockingly, because Purdue has not been a good defensive team so far this season, this is a team, they haven't been good this season. This is by far their best defensive effort of the year.
Yep.
They stoned Minnesota on offense. You look at the stats from this game.
32 yards rushing for Darius Taylor.
Yeah.
That's it.
So let me go through their Big Ten games, because I've been looking at their growth on offense and their call it improvement on defense. So against USC 4 games ago, they gained 350 yards on offense, only 50 yards rushing against a team with not a great run D. And on the other side, gave up 450 yards. They lost by a lot. They got absolutely killed by Notre Dame. They gave up 530 yards against Notre Dame. But their offense was a little bit better. They generated 370, close to 380. They only turned it over once. Against Illinois, they put up another 350 yards. Again, minimized their turnovers. They lost this game big. And on the other side, they gave up 500 yards to the Illinois offense. And then, they come into this Minnesota game, and not only do they put up 450, which is their best offensive performance to date, but they absolutely stoned Minnesota's running game, as you said, John.
You look at the stats, you can't believe Minnesota won this game.
Well, and it's weird.
They won it on a pick six.
Yeah.
What's weird, too, because Darius Taylor, who was totally ineffective against Ohio State, comes into this game, can't run the ball against a team that has not shown itself to be a good run defense. And then, but he caught 6 receptions for 67 yards. So clearly he was it's not like he's hurt.
Something's wrong with their run game right now.
Yeah,
clearly.
It is weird, because there's been a couple games in a row now for Minnesota. Interestingly, Purdue also held Illinois' run game relatively in check. 40 rushes for 117 yards. Now, Illinois was way up, so you got to think late in this game it was a lot of predictable dives, etc. But Illinois didn't, barnstorm Purdue on the ground either. So they found something on the ground, which is enough to be concerned about with our matchup. And then, interestingly, Penn State could not figure out how to get over the top of us. And that was something we talked about a lot last week as one of our biggest concerns. They couldn't do it. Their biggest passing plays were underneath and things that they broke, etc. Purdue likes to get over the top, whether it's Tuggle or Michael Jackson III. They've put up some big passing numbers. Braun throws these moon balls. They're 50-50, et cetera. So our secondary is going to have to just be really, really sharp, because if that breakdown happens, then we're going to be in a real firefight, and I don't love that for us.
Right. I mean, you look at the stats. Purdue outgained Minnesota by 200 yards in this game. They had 8 more first downs than Minnesota, and it's like, well, how did they lose? Because they
turned the ball over 4 times.
They play gross football. This has been a thing all year. They turned it over 4 times. They committed 9 penalties for 71 yards. That's not new. Purdue turns it over. They commit penalties. Now, obviously, the great worry is here is like, what if they don't commit penalties and don't turn the ball over? Then what kind of football game do you find yourself in? That's the question. And Purdue has been searching for that game this entire season. I mean, they're a 2-4 team coming off a horrific football season. Scuzz mentioned the Notre Dame game, and yeah, I mean, they lost by 20, but they scored 30 points in that game. It's like if you go looking for ass kickings on this schedule, Purdue hasn't, like, for a team that is as much of a mess at times as they are, they're not getting blown out. And they've played some good teams. This is a team that fights the whole way on the strength of the raw talent that they have on the football team. They've assembled a lot of really good pieces here. And again, it's like we've talked for weeks that like this team, our team, has played really clean football for weeks now. We talked about the one maddening piece being like the illegal formation penalties, right? But that was kind of the last thing. Like we have not been committing a lot of penalties. And in some games, the UCLA game being an example, our massive gap in penalties in that game ended up being a major deciding factor in that game. That's one of the things that really helped us out in the UCLA game. It may end up being like that too. There's, you can look, again, it's like you look at the kind of mess that Penn State's offense is right now. Purdue is capable of not being a mess when they're not shooting themselves in the foot. And it's funny. It's like they went for weeks without being able to run the ball at all, and then they tore Minnesota apart running the ball. And it's hard to know what that means. But I mean, like the one takeaway is that they're a dangerous football team with a lot of pieces. They're not a team I don't think that's particularly good in the trenches. They're not a team that's particularly good on defense. But for whatever reason, they sure stoned Minnesota this past week. And yeah, I mean, this is the thing. This is why Braun knows this. The coaches all know this.
Yeah.
It's holding serve here is everything. This game is everything. It's the necessary rubber stamp of the Penn State game. It's the thing that makes this. If you look at SP plus, FPI, or whatever, as awesome as that win was for us, they're like, most people have us picking up maybe one win in the last 5 games. That's not to say it's going to happen. This team is proving people wrong as we speak. But they're like getting win 5 here, and from a perspective of a bowl, and being able to look at those last 5 games, needing to find one more makes all the difference in the world here. So this game's everything. And as a Northwestern fan, this is an essential game. You must come to this game. If by hook or by crook, if you can get there, you must get there.
You guys care to guess the line on this?
Assume we are favored.
I saw something by like 5.5, 6.5, something in that range.
What I'm looking right now, 3.
Whoa, man, it's dropped. That's the thing. I mean, that's Vegas crediting Purdue. And just so that everybody knows, that's not a knock on us. And, I mean, you want to treat it as disrespect? Awesome. Treat it as disrespect. Get pissed off and then come and bring your venom into the football stadium on Saturday. But that's because of the way Purdue's playing football right now. They're a 2-4 team that it should at minimum be 3-3. They should have won that Minnesota game. And again, like the way we're going to beat them is to play cleaner football and force them into the kind of turnovers that they've been dealing. And maybe, it is possible that the way we're playing defense right now, we're playing defense at a level that they haven't seen. But I don't think anyone's taking this for granted. Like, this is going to be a knockdown, drag-out game. It's going to be a really big game that I'm really glad we have at home, that we need to bring our very best as fans for.
So, I mean, we are recording this on Sunday night, so a lot can change in a week. But current weather forecast for Saturday's game, high of 70, 60% chance of rain.
Oh, man, it's changed. Last time I looked, it was not that. Oh, so we're maybe looking at some rain. I don't know who that helps. Maybe us, but it's funny. We've dodged We've dodged the weather gods for so long in this game. It's so far out, it's hard to even know.
Yeah, I mean, a lot can change in a week. But before we move on, let's also take into account this is the last game at Martin Stadium.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, the last football game.
Right. You're exactly right. The last football game at Martin Stadium.
Well, we think, because I guess like if something were to happen and the new stadium is delayed, it sounds like they're going to keep this one up just in case.
At least for the rest of this. I mean, obviously for the rest of the season, you got the lacrosse Final Four happening there next year. So,
and the
Chicago Stars are playing there.
Exactly.
At least this season. I assume that ends before the end of Northwestern's academic calendar.
Yeah, probably. And like whether or not that continues, obviously, David Gold probably doesn't want to go anywhere near Evanston City Council, which is where we'd have to.
Luckily, David Gold doesn't have to cover this crap anymore.
But either way, we believe that this is the last football game at Martin Stadium.
Yeah,
right.
And like, just to pause for a second, and like we can talk about this more next week, but like, this was an experiment. This was something that came together so quickly, and for it to have been as successful as it has been, to like, I don't think this is beyond anyone's imagination on what this has been, and what people thought it could be. I mean, how like last year, it's like, oh, you're playing on the practice field, blah blah blah. Oh, it's gonna be so cold. The weather's been freaking gorgeous every game we've been there.
The weather is such a red herring. I think what really puts this into sharp contrast is when you think about the world before Martin Stadium was conceptualized for football.
Yeah.
And because that's what's really important. This isn't about like, do you like Martin Stadium or do you not like Martin Stadium? It is like the picture of Northwestern football without Martin Stadium means that last year we've got 2 games at SeatGeek, 2 games at Soldier Field, maybe the same
Lambeau.
2 games, the same 2 games in
Wisconsin
Wrigley,
at Lambeau,
a game in Lambeau, like a game some other random spot because there was some music festival that they couldn't get moved and there was nowhere to play one week. So compare that experience with what Martin Stadium has been, which is a true home. We heard this from a lot of parents last year of like, we had a place to go. Like we have found community and camaraderie in that West Tech parking lot because the same folks have been able to show up for games 2 years in a row. Imagine if we were some traveling circus in Bridgeview one weekend and downtown the next and flipping northern Wisconsin the week after that. Like this has been so critical to the very fabric of the existence of this program and the perseverance of this program over the last 2 years. It could have truly been 2 years in the wilderness.
Yeah. It could have been 2 wasted years.
Yeah.
And years where like the guys on the team don't feel that home and that base and that support network, where their families are scrambling every week to be in 6 or 7 different locations, where the team never ever comes together, never comes close to even competing in a game like the one we just watched at Penn State, because they don't have that foundation and that baseline. That's how important Martin Stadium has been.
Right.
You think Preston Stone is coming for 1 year to be on the traveling roadshow?
Yeah, I mean that's a good point. I mean, I think the way that it all came together, you're 100% right, and that foundation, and there being that big piece to it, and that we've all gotten used to being like, oh, we have that great tailgate in the West Tech lot, and then we walk down the alley between Tech and Sargent Hall and take that walk down to the football stadium by Ryan Athletic Center, and then into the stadium, and it's like Walter Athletic Center. It's just awesome. It has been this special thing, and this is truly, very likely our last true home game of the season, our last chance to leverage that. I mean, we have the 2 Wrigley games. I think we all know, we're all pretty clear-eyed about how the Michigan game is going to go, but Gophers fans
from a fan
from a
base.
fan base perspective. Yeah, from a fan
what
base
colors are going to be.
That's what I mean. Just like we know.
We'll talk about on field.
Right. We know what the Ohio
in
State
a month or
crowd
so,
is going to be like. We know what the Ohio State crowd was like last year. We know what the Michigan crowd's going to be like this year. But like the Gophers, Wrigley has that kind of novelty for Chicago area alumni base. It just does, and they show out. This is a massive time. It's a chance, like you said, to celebrate what this has been. The way that this stadium has effectively been as good as it possibly could have been. Shouts to, amongst others, Jesse Marks, who has been so intimately involved in this project and done such a fantastic job, and now is shepherding the new stadium into being. And just like so many people, I mean, we mentioned, Jay Sharman earlier, the people who really beat the drum for this and helped bring it to fruition, helped turn it from a dream into a reality. And so many people behind the scenes too. But this is it. This is the last time. There are any number of reasons why this game is so special and so important. And why you should be coming out to this game. I mean, this is a really important ticket. It's really important. It's really key. It's really special. Sam already mentioned the Rose Bowl celebration that's going to be going on too. I mean, this is a really big deal. This is a really big game that potentially this season is going to pivot on now. So we need everyone to give everything they've got here.
Shall we briefly move on? I mean, there's plenty more to talk about. Other action around the conference.
Yeah.
It was a banger of a week, boys.
It really was. I think we should probably go ahead and start in Eugene.
Good grief.
I mean,
we've given Kurt Cignetti as many flowers as we possibly can, and that's not enough.
Well, we thought Oregon would win this game, but the question I asked was, what has Indiana learned? What have they learned from having to go against Ohio State and Notre Dame and get absolutely smoked last year? And I feel like what they learned quite palpably was we need to attack the shit out of their quarterback and not give them any time to do anything on offense, because that's what Ohio State and Notre Dame did to Indiana last year to great effect. And that is exactly what they did to Oregon. And we saw the old Dante Moore. The old Dante Moore that takes sacks and can't operate in extreme pressure situations. They came after him like howitzers. 6 sacks. That's the whole game.
If Indiana wants to claim they're the best team in the country, they can claim they're the best team in the country.
They have the best win.
No one else has a win close to as good at this. What a massive win. But this team has gone on the road and played the Illinois offense and the Oregon offense and obliterated them. The only reason this game was close is because Fernando Mendoza threw a pick six. Oregon scored 13 offensive points in this game at home. We all saw what they did. I mean, this Indiana team is, I think it's Ohio State. If that's what the Big Ten championship is going to be, whoa, Nelly, Ohio State and Indiana. I mean, but IU this is a team with an awesome offensive line and talent at every single position and a defense that's just ludicrously good and the best coach in the country. I mean, how could it be anyone other than Cignetti? He's on the greatest 1.5-year run I've ever seen a coach make.
He is on a heater.
At Indiana. This is Indiana's first top 5 win since 1967.
Mm-hmm.
It is their first top 5 win on the road ever.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I mean, this is a team that has a worse football track record and trajectory and history than Northwestern. And they are number 3 in the country right now with a victory in the books that proves they can go anywhere and play anyone at any time.
Right.
I mean, saying that Indiana can win the national championship this year is not a crazy statement.
No, 100%. I mean, it's like there's not like there's anyone else making like a particularly better case than them. You think they can't beat Miami? 100% they can beat Miami. They'd probably love that game. And the Big Ten champion, I mean, if that's what it's going to be, Ohio State and Indiana, those might be.
What a banger.
Ohio State remains the dark cloud that hangs over everyone and everything.
But it's like those may be the two best teams in the country. It's crazy. I mean, it's amazing what Indiana. And then the other big piece of this too, relative to Indiana, because obviously, like Penn State, that's the first name that's getting thrown out. Is like, of course, Cignetti is everyone's dream, but the big thing about Indiana that I think a lot of people don't understand, or maybe particularly not from the Midwest, is like Indiana's loaded with money. Their alumni base is huge. The Kelly School of Business is like Kellogg. They are loaded with well-moneyed alums of this school. People who've gone out into the business world and made a boatload of cash. Sam, we were talking before the pod, you mentioned Mark Cuban. That's just like one example. Like, there are deep pockets backing this team. Whatever Cignetti's offered somewhere else, Indiana's going to match that money.
Yep.
So then it's a question of, does he want to leave or not? And everything he talks about, he's like, his whole mentality is like, we're kicking the shit out of everybody right now. This is the best team in the country. Why would I leave? And I'm like, I don't have a counter to that. It's whatever he wants to do.
Well, and his whole thing was like, he'd been at James Madison forever and nobody ever gave him a shot. Probably in large part because he's pretty thorny,
right?
And and this was his opportunity to prove who he is and what he can do, and to be given that opportunity to a place that has not had the success makes it all that much more impressive. The fact that he's doing it year 2 in a row, the fact that it is so dominant and so pristine of victories and performance on both sides of the ball. I mean, this is not Rich Rod's offense or Randy Walker and Kevin Wilson. This is not, some defensive wizard showing up. I mean, they are doing it on both sides of the ball to great effect across the board. I mean, Indiana looks like a blue blood, like an absolute powerhouse.
Yep.
And there is no reason in this day and age, with everything you just said, John, about the resources that Indiana has at their disposal, not to mention the resources they get from the Big Ten,
right?
They can absolutely keep this up.
If he stays, that's a destination school in the portal for anyone. Like they'll be able to pull anybody.
I mean, it has been
right
for the last year and a half.
Why would he want to give that up to start somewhere else for what would be like a marginal amount of additional prestige or money? There's no point.
No. Yeah. I mean, and also like where the Penn State fan base is right now and everything. Like, who would want to take that mantle on who didn't have to take that up?
I crave more pressure.
Yeah.
My team is number 3. I am killing people left and right. I want more pressure.
Yeah.
I don't think he's at a life stage where he wants more pressure. I think he just wants to continue being a murder bot.
And he's doing a really good job of that. Also, this past week, we had Ohio State.
This is
just curb stomping Illinois.
We were talking on our text threads that we have with our winning cures everything boys. Scuzz wins this. If all of you who listened to the Illinois preview in the summer, Scuzz wins this argument. If I wave the right flag. If you take away Illinois' ability to run, Altmaier's not going to beat you. It's just not. Like he has 248 yards on the game. That's not even representative of his performance. I think a bunch of those yards came late. He was a non-factor. Ohio State just came out and was like, you're not going to run the ball at all, and stoned Illinois, and that was that. Illinois was like, well, we're not scoring any points then.
Yeah. I mean, he doesn't have the receiving talent. Now, that being said, like, Illinois moved the ball more against Ohio State than anybody else had. I think the touchdown they scored in the third quarter was the first touchdown Ohio State's given up since week 1 against Texas. So,
that's something, I guess.
And put that in perspective of, how much Indiana absolutely annihilated this offense.
True.
So obviously that doesn't quite translate. And it has to be said, on the defensive side, they only gave up 275 yards.
Well, Ohio State, though, that's the thing with Ohio State this runs multiple seasons where Ohio State fans know this too. It's like a lot of times you're like, don't you have all the best guys? Like, like, isn't your receiver core like still an NFL receiver core? And obviously, Sain's a freshman. So, but I mean, again, it's like when your defense is playing like this defense is playing. Yeah.
Well, it seems like, I mean, so Ohio State starts with a field goal, then they get an interception, they score a touchdown, Illinois punts, Ohio State punts, Illinois turns over on downs, and then Ohio State hits a field goal, Illinois fumbles, Ohio State scores a touchdown. They're up 20-0.
Yeah.
And when you have this defense at that point, unlike when you're Maryland, you can park the bus. And Illinois is not going to be able to come back on you. That's the difference between, the caliber of this Buckeye team and some of the other teams that we've seen have struggled with that situation. Now, if Ohio State tries to pull this with Indiana or I don't know, a USC, I don't know if they play USC this year, or a UCLA, God forbid, later on this year. Like, who knows what might happen? But they are, they're just really, really good right now. And interestingly, probably haven't truly been tested.
Yeah, I mean, again, that Big Ten, let us have that Big Ten championship game with Indiana.
Yeah,
like,
seriously, right?
That's everything.
You mentioned UCLA.
Yeah.
Wow. They went to Michigan State, 38-13 win. Like
Jerry for president.
Seriously, right?
Jerry, and multiple people have talked about this too. Poor Tim Skipper is getting like a lot of short shrift here. Everyone's like, Jerry. I think a lot of people think Jerry Neuheisel's the coach of this team. He's the offensive coordinator of this team. On the other hand, they did just put up 38 points. Like he's doing a great job calling plays. But we've talked about, like, they have Nico, and he's a real problem. And the team is full of belief. They're not playing a murderer's row piece of their schedule right now. Obviously, the Penn State game was huge and gave them a momentum. But then they caught Michigan State. It's fascinating, too. We've talked about kind of coming into this season and really through the first couple of weeks with Michigan State about, well, this team's playing with house money. It's like a new situation. They have this exciting young quarterback. That is not the way Michigan State Nation is feeling right now. Aiden Childs has cratered the past couple of weeks. I don't know what's going on with that guy. I know he got hurt in this game.
Yeah. He was okay in this game, and then he got hurt. Yeah.
But I mean, it's like the Michigan State fans are all out on Jonathan Smith right now. They're not in a good place, but obviously UCLA coming in and thumping them. UCLA's schedule is about to get much more difficult, but first they get to play a really exciting game against Maryland at home that could potentially give them their third straight win.
So not to go backwards to something we talked about before, but it is funny how the success of Curt Cignetti at Indiana colors everything else, because in most cases, Jonathan Smith would be like, guys, it's just year 2. You got to give me time to bring in some of my guys. Let me get year 3.
So true.
That's when things like turn to go so well. And there's Curt Cignetti, like, 150 miles away, just killing everybody.
Penn
he's got
State,
like Smith has no leg to stand on.
Penn State fans were saying the exact same thing. Oh, we're just supposed to wait for Franklin? We could be turning this around next year if we just get it. It's like, all right, simmer down. There's one Curt Cignetti. You don't have him. But yeah, no, you're totally right. But I mean, UCLA is, credit to them. I mean, they're dialed in right now. Again, like they're catching this sweet period. I still don't think they're going to bowl or anything, but they don't care. Like, UCLA fans are happy right now. Everything's clicking for them.
Yeah. Michigan goes out to LA, 31-13 USC.
Scuzz teased this one earlier when we briefly mentioned the Wrigley game in Michigan. I mean, USC outclassed them in this game. And
outclassed and out physical. I thought this would be a clash of styles, and Michigan couldn't run the ball to save their lives.
No.
This was a beatdown.
No, and USC was able to run the ball. I mean, this was a real Michigan, who has not played great football of late. This was a real eye-opener for them because USC is not a particularly great defensive football team, and they stoned Michigan running the ball. Again, you can look and see like what Purdue did against USC's defense, way more than what Michigan did. Michigan really couldn't get anything going here. And again, USC, USC will tell you they're a top 3 team in the Big Ten. I don't know that that's true, but they sure can throw the ball. And the way they ran the ball in this game opened a lot of eyes. But from our perspective, the thing that's just as important, and we play both of these teams, but is the way Michigan looked and the way that they had real difficulty moving the ball and scoring points in this game. And again, I'm here to tell you, our defense matches up quite favorably with USC's defense, to say the least. And that's got to fill you full of belief when you think about what we can do in Wrigley against Michigan.
Far be it for me to do what the rest of the nation is doing and ignore Washington. They are sitting there at 5-1 after beating Rutgers 38-19. That is the quietest 5-1 I've ever seen.
It really is, isn't it? You're right.
Yeah, Damon Williams is looking quite good. Now this is the East Coast team travels to the West Coast and gets obliterated on a Friday night. What did this game kick off at 10 p.m. Rutgers time?
I heard Steve Belichick wants it to be known he's very available to come back as a defensive assistant or something like that. If he's
head
asking,
coach waiting, right?
He's asking, are there any positions available for me? Can I come back? No, but and it's funny, like the Big Ten. It truly is kind of a great thing. Multiple people, of course, our game, everyone was saying it, like Big Ten, no weeks off kind of thing, and you have this massive 18-team conference right now, and everyone wants to be like, oh, well, this is just haves and have-nots. Not really. This league is just a bunch of fun this year. Like, you feel like Maryland can beat anyone. Even a team like Rutgers is in a ton of these games. Purdue's playing teams pretty tough. Obviously, you saw like what we did. UCLA's turned their season around. Like, everyone's giving everyone games. Nebraska, you look at Nebraska, Maryland was, we haven't got there, but it's like everyone's giving everyone a piece of something.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about Nebraska, Maryland. Nebraska comes back and snipes Maryland 34-31. Mm-hmm. Second game in a row, Maryland's gotten sniped late.
Yep.
Yeah, so this is Maryland scores a touchdown on their first drive of the third quarter to go up 24-17. And then throws hold on. Oh, I'm sorry. Scores a touchdown to tie it. They were down 7 at half, 24-17. They tie it with a touchdown on their first drive. 75-yard touchdown. This is just like we were talking about against Penn State. This is the stuff, like the metal that you just love to see when a team is showing up like this and performing in this manner. Then they get a pick six to go up 31-24 on the next drive, and they don't score again. And Nebraska gets a touchdown with a minute left to play to take the lead. And it's 2 weeks in a row of heartbreak for Maryland.
Yeah, and everyone knows they have a great young team. It's fascinating though. But I mean, again, I think from a larger conference perspective, people looking at us and looking at Nebraska, looking at the Nebraska-Maryland game, looking at some of the games, like looking at Nebraska-Michigan and being like, these are all going to be like close, exciting games. People are going to expect that of our game against Nebraska, a massive game down the pipe, which obviously not to put the cart before the horse because this is all about Purdue. But a lot of exciting. I mentioned haves and have-nots though. There are 17 teams in this conference that are capable of being in a game in any given week. And then there's the Wisconsin Badgers.
Yeah, I mean, if anyone, like, Luke Fickell still is employed as of time of recording. Iowa beats them 37-0.
I told you guys Iowa was going to win this game by 30-something.
Yeah,
they were just going to hammer them.
You did.
And the formula is, Iowa. Gronowski had 100 yards passing.
Yeah, I know.
107 yards passing and 1 interception.
Right.
And they won this game 37-0 because Wisconsin has no offense.
They almost literally have no offense. It's a non-working offense.
They
have
totally dysfunctional. And when you give Iowa a dysfunctional offense, they eat big time because their defense is still super stout.
Right. This is Iowa massacred the line of scrimmage in this game, and Wisconsin can't throw, they can't run, like they literally can't do anything offensively. And it's not like their defense is great shakes either, but they're just clearly the 18th best team in the conference. There's no doubt they are clear. If they played UCLA right now, UCLA would throttle them. They are firmly in the basement. And yeah, I mean, like, we know we're moving on from Fickle. It's just a question of, if they are really that intent on running this thing all the way to the end of the tracks, maybe they are.
Man, it's crazy.
Yeah.
His buyout is only 60% of what of what Franklin's was.
$45 million buyout for Frank. Like, that's nuts, right?
50.
Just taking that private equity, that new private equity money, and just lighting it on fire. Why not? straight to the strip club. Give it to me all in ones. I'm burning it all in one night.
Whoosh.
Any national game, like any other games? I mean, Alabama, Missouri was tight. That was a fun one. Texas just throttles Oklahoma.
That was a
Texas's
shocker.
defense really showed up finally in their running game, and and then Oklahoma. John Mateer has thumb surgery, and probably pushed to come back and play too early. By all accounts, he was not ready.
It's funny too, like the way narratives work too with like Arch. Like, Arch is okay, but the narrative strung so far to being like, this is the biggest bust in college football history. And it's like, I mean, he's functional. He's like, they put in a situation where, he just had to not lose the game for them. And he definitely did not do that.
Yeah.
Florida State is back. Not
Oops.
so fast, my friend.
Yeah, Mike Norvell's probably getting fired. Speaking of guys with big buyouts.
Yeah. It's like seemed like they had rallied, and then that all went down the toilet. You're right.
Yeah. Yep. So I'll admit is maybe the wrong word, but I was at Notre Dame Stadium this weekend. We'll call it the home and home for Team Scousbo, in that I brought my kids to the Oregon game, and then we took them to see Notre Dame, NC State, and Notre Dame won that game going away. It was 10-7 at half though, and people were not thrilled. But I call it out because they're one of, I don't know, probably 6 teams that look like they're plausible playoff bets at this point, given what they have left on the schedule. I mean, the USC next weekend is the big test, right? But should they pass that, like, they're probably flying high along with USC, along with Ohio State, Indiana. Alabama's looking like they're headed in that direction as well. A&M.
If Marcus Freeman were to run the table, he at the very least is getting a massive contract extension, because his name's just as much in play as anybody else's if he digs it out. I mean, Notre Dame doesn't want to frame it that way, but then Notre Dame has already lost a coach to an SEC school. Like, Penn State's taking all comers. Let's put it this way. Like, Penn State's going to be splashing cash for the big names.
And they splashed cash at Franklin to go away. So,
yeah.
I mean...
So, guys, we should mention, too, like, you in Notre Dame Stadium rocking Northwestern gear. I feel like this has happened before. Maybe I'm just misremembering, but where you've been in Notre Dame Stadium wearing Northwestern gear when Northwestern did something big, and then had people, like, identifying you.
So it wasn't Notre Dame Stadium.
Okay.
2013, when we hosted Ohio State for game day was there.
Right.
Notre Dame played in Dallas at Jerry World, and I was living in Dallas at the time. Was it Arizona State? We went to that game, and I was definitely wearing NU gear, and people were like, somebody in the bathroom told me Northwestern had won the game. And I was like, what? Because of course you can't get a signal and everything,
right.
So you're on hopes and prayers that you're getting good information. So
they were like, I just saw your guy Ken Coulter got the first down. And they were right. He did get the first down.
I'm pretty sure that, like, I don't know that those exact words were used, but like, yeah, something like, "Hey, yeah, you just got the first down. You guys are gonna win." Was the general tenor. But yeah, no, I was at Notre Dame Stadium. My Northwestern gear was underneath other blue gear so as to blend in a little bit, but the spirit was there, and by chance, my son needed to use the restroom at a pivotal moment, and so I got to take in the waning moments of the Northwestern game while waiting for him to come out of the bathroom. I was the one person shouting and screaming, jumping up and down in the bowels of Notre Dame Stadium. So that worked out really well.
Nice. Let's turn our attention to this weekend, the rest of this weekend's action, this upcoming weekend. We've got a Friday night game. Nebraska is at Minnesota. Nebraska is a 6.5-point road favorite. That game is 7 o'clock Central on Fox.
I mean, given Minnesota just looks all out of sorts, I think it makes sense that Nebraska's favored, and we'll see what happens.
I mean,
how cold's it going to be?
Probably not too cold yet.
It doesn't look too bad.
Yeah.
Nebraska's got themselves ranked. I mean, again, like these are all teams we are going to be dancing with, and it's starting to get really real. I mean, you talk about Purdue, you talk about Nebraska, you talk about Minnesota. Like, these are all going to be defining teams in our season. So we're going to be definitely locked in on this one.
Big noon Saturday, heading out to Ann Arbor. Washington at Michigan. Michigan is a 6-point home favorite.
You talked about Washington's quiet season. They can certainly wake some people up by going out to win
this
one.
It's about to get loud.
Yeah.
National championship rematch from a couple years ago.
Yeah, that's right. Golly. Amazing.
Only one early game for the Big Ten this week. Obviously, our game is at 2. At 2:30 on CBS.
Oh dear
God!
Oh Lord! If Iowa won 37-0, what do you think Ohio State's going to do?
Well, Ohio State is favored by 27.5 at Wisconsin.
What's the over/under?
41.5.
Oh my Lord! That's the Wisconsin scoring 0 points in this game. So I don't know. The question is, if Ohio State needs 4 touchdowns to cover.
Yeah, are they gonna go for gusto, or are they gonna pack it in after they get up 20 zip?
Right.
Oh man, I don't actually feel bad for Wisconsin, but this situation is rough, man.
Yeah.
That sound you're hearing is everyone in Bloomington, Indiana, opening up their wallets to re-up their Peacock subscriptions as Michigan State comes in to play Indiana this week at 2:30 on Peacock. Indiana, 26.5-point favorite at home against Michigan State.
They're going to destroy them.
I'll happily take this opportunity to vent against Peacock as the Northwestern basketball schedule has come out, and I've had to see again how many friggin' games are going to be on Peacock. But I'm just like, the idea that we are paywalling, or at the very least free subscriptioning, the number 3 team in the nation is ridiculous.
They did it to Ohio State a couple weeks ago too. So
yeah.
I mean,
in terms of it sucks too, because again, we talked about that Aiden Childs had the ability to be this magic trying to trick or treat thing, and hey, you don't know, you may know, you get the right Aiden Childs game and whatever. Indiana's going to obliterate them. The way he is right now, the way they are right now, this is another one where I don't know how Michigan State scores points in this game, and Indiana's, as always, going to be 100% locked in.
5:30 Central on Big Ten Network. Oregon traveling cross country to take on Rutgers.
So, after losing a brutal game at home, Penn State had to travel cross country to UCLA and happened to lose. Mm-hmm. And after losing a brutal game at home, Oregon has to travel cross country to Rutgers.
The line's
I'm
kind of
not suggesting.
Of that.
Is it? I'm not suggesting Rutgers wins this game, but this is definitely mission critical for Oregon to wake up real quick.
Well, that's what I'm saying. The spread is 16.5, but when you consider that it's Oregon and it's Rutgers I feel like the travel is definitely factored in
Well,
here.
and somebody did Oregon a favor because this game starts at 6:30 Eastern instead of noon Eastern.
Mm-hmm.
And so this will not like this will feel like a normal mid-afternoon kickoff to the Ducks.
6 o'clock Central on FS1, Maryland at UCLA. UCLA, a 2.5-point favorite at home.
I mean, this game is great. This
Yeah.
is just a super fun game.
Yeah. Cross-country travel screws with teams, and I think this young Maryland team is going to get screwed with. I think UCLA is on for their third win in a row.
But it's like Malik Washington and Nico Amaliava is, by the way, I've said his name a million times. I still can't say it, but Amaliava, there you go, they're just awesome. I mean, like, it's just a great quarterback battle between two teams that were expected to be absolutely nothing this season that are, at the very least, both incredibly fun to watch right now.
6 o'clock on Peacock. Probably better that people aren't going to get a chance to watch this.
Yeah.
Penn State at Iowa. Iowa 3-point favorite. Over under 38.5.
You can hear the Peacock subscriptions being canceled in central Pennsylvania as we speak. But this is rough. You lose your. I mean, I don't know how good Ethan, whatever his last name is for Penn State, but they got to prepare for this defense after the kind of weekend that they've had.
Yeah, I know. Like, and also too, going back to our Iowa preview in the summer, this is how Iowa gets to 8 and 9 wins every single year. It's like we know they have like a non-working offense, but look, here they go. They're gonna win this game. They always find a way.
I guess we really like instilled in them the understanding when Corey Wooten took out Ricky Stanzi for the season. If you don't have any quarterback, you can't lose your quarterback to injury.
Nice. Checkmate.
And then finally, at least as far as the Big Ten goes, this is the USC traveling to South Bend to take on Notre Dame. Notre Dame is a 7.5-point favorite at home. Games on NBC, obviously. 6:30 kick on NBC.
No idea what to think of this game. Two, I think, good offenses, and two, I guess one really good offense and a not great defense at USC, and then a maybe good offense and maybe improving defense at Notre Dame. I don't know. This is a real,
for USC. It's a massive opportunity to throw their hat in the ring here. I mean, it's like a question of hey, we saw how you looked against Michigan. We've kind of, everyone's had you outside this little circle since the start of the season, but Penn State's been firmly ejected from that circle now, and you have the potential to walk into it. Are you a top 3 team in the conference? This is a big test.
Yeah. Light them up, and they will be on everybody's radar.
Yep.
Yeah. Nationally, you got some Conference USA and Sun Belt games happening on Tuesday. You got some CUSA games on Wednesday. So we're at that point of the year.
Yeah, we're in that. There's football every day for some long stretch of time. Yeah.
Yep.
You got Louisville, Miami on Friday night to go up against the Nebraska-Minnesota game.
Jeff Brom.
Yeah.
Jeff Brom versus Corey Heatherman. Jeff Brom's offense versus Corey Heatherman's defense.
Pretty fun.
North
Carolina heading out to Cal.
Was North Carolina off this past week?
Release the tapes.
Maybe? I don't know. Release
the Hulu tapes. We have to see it.
Man.
LSU Vandy. Number 10 LSU, number 17 Vandy. That game's at the Titans Stadium in Nashville. They're playing in the big barn for LSU.
Diego got him into Titans Stadium. Awesome. Another big one. It's just funny. Vandy's has such a good team. It's just their schedule is so daunting. Far be it for me to go against friend of the pod, Chris Giannini, and other friend of the pod, Josh Thompson, at guard for LSU. But I'd love to see a great game here.
Ole Miss, Georgia. That'll be fun. Games at Georgia.
Lane going to be firmly in that Penn State discussion. So all these things factor in too.
See, nothing else is really jumping out.
It's Alabama, Tennessee hate week.
Sure. Hadn't gotten down that far. Mizzou, Auburn? I mean, I don't know. Mizzou is looking pretty good. Holy War. Utah, BYU.
Oh, there you go.
Somehow Utah's 5-1.
Yeah, I mean, they got throttled by Texas Tech in that one game, but Texas Tech's your number 7 team in the country right now. I mean,
They Arizona State did not have their QB. They did not have Sam Leavitt when they played this past weekend. So that 42-10 scoreline as a result in favor of Utah is in part infused by a backup quarterback.
Real quick before we get out of here, maybe not real quick, but we do need to go to Field Hockey Corner. Another walloping of Penn State. This time by Field Hockey, 4-0 at the home opener. No, sorry. 4-0 at Lakeside Field. Cats just continue to dominate the field hockey.
Yeah, Ashley Sessa continues to cover the scoreboard. I mean, this is just, that's maybe your best field hockey player in the country. And just on our team, we also have Maddie Zimmer. I mean, we have multiple Olympians here. The goal of the day, though, doesn't go to Sessa or Zimmer. It goes to Grace Schultz, who the field hockey Twitter page has got it up. You all should check it out. An amazing up high goal. It goes to the kind of thing where if you haven't watched a lot of field hockey and you think that it's all purely a ground level sport, then you look at Sessa's aerial goal last year and then see Schultz's goal. Schultz's goal, the ball is like head high, maybe even higher. She high sticks it down into the goal off of Karam, and you look and you're like, how did you even get your stick on this? Just an unbelievable aerial goal. So good. But this is, by the time this pod goes up, like, this game will already have happened, but huge one on Monday against Princeton, coming in number 8 in the country. A really big one. So we would entreat you all to go to this one, but by the time this comes up, it'll already kind of happen. So I'm just, with my mind, going to try to manifest it just right now, that people will turn out, particularly the students, because it's another big one.
And then Friday, they're at Rutgers. Then on Sunday at Maryland. So a little East Coast trip before coming back to kind of finish off the homestand against Michigan and Ohio State before traveling to Michigan State to wrap up the regular season, the Big Ten tournament this year at Bloomington, Indiana. So, yeah, field hockey is coming down to it, and these ladies just continue to dominate. It's really, really cool to watch. Really, really cool to see.
Juliana Boone continues to be this freshman revelation in goal, just stoning teams week after week. There's no one reloads like this team, except for maybe Lax, but that they're getting it done.
It's been a long one tonight, but I think it's been a good one. Anything else to mention before we shut the door?
Real quick, 13 days away from hoops.
Yeah,
so first right. Exhibition game is October 26th. And if you've forgotten, as I hadn't forgotten, but it just wasn't on my radar. But like Nick Martinelli, and maybe the best freshman class Northwestern's ever had. So there's some stuff to be excited about this fall.
Yeah, we will definitely be talking about them before too long. You need to start doing some research on that front, because this team could be a lot of fun this year.
This is like where football is and everything. We didn't mention it last week. I don't think it got in. We got to mention it for posterity. Chris Collins lands another massive recruit in Jaden Hodge. Big time top 100 player. I think some people have him as high as top 80. That obviously makes him one of the highest ranked Northwestern recruits ever. Just to remember, like, this is arguably this freshman class, as we just said, arguably the best freshman class Northwestern has ever inked. The freshmen are going to be taking the court, and you've already signed one big-time recruit on top of that. These are the halcyon days for Northwestern basketball. This is what it's like when you're in the wake of the greatest 3-year run that this team has ever had. And yeah, it is going to be super exciting because this team has Martinelli, of course, but then there's so much youth, so much raw talent, and it's going to be a lot of fun to see how it all comes together. The last piece I'll say is just, we've kind of already talked about it, but these magic moments, man, this is why we do the pod. To be a part of this community when a game like that Penn State game happens. Those special ones where you are just, like working the Twitter feed and seeing everyone going bananas in the moment as it's happening, and Northwestern Nation's all sharing it together, and our collective experience and the fact that you and all the Northwestern fans get to log this one next to 2023 Minnesota, and next to the Rose Bowl season, and next to the Citrus Bowl season, and next to 2000, and next to all the greats. That it's just special. And no matter how many of these happen, I'm never going to take them for granted. It gets better every time.
Yeah, absolutely. So with that, we'll go ahead and leave it there for tonight. Head to our website, westlawpirates.com, where you can leave comments and questions. Find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Blue Sky, all social media, and then also YouTube at Westlaw Pirates. And you can always email us, westlawpirates@gmail.com. Tune in next time as we give our visceral and statistical views on Northwestern athletics, and look for us in the West Tech lot of Martin Stadium for the last time, flying the red pirate flag, because we give no quarter, especially the fourth. For John Lacombe and Eric Scasbo, I'm Sam Walter. Thanks so much for listening. We'll see you next time.